Got stuff on the floor. Okay. So we are going to start weather. All right. So today we're going to talk about types of precipitation and weather instruments. So it won't be too much note taking, but you are going to have to take notes, and please make sure that you do, because you're going to need them later on when you take a weather test or quiz. All right. So types of precipitation, which this is pretty easy. You guys know precipitation. Okay, so just remember that if I'm writing, you guys have to write. So, of course, we'll talk about rain. And that is just our good old rain. That is just water droplets that inside of a cloud that bump into each other, become larger, and they just get too heavy, they fall out. So water droplets inside a cloud, and then when they get too heavy, they fall as rain. And that is actually why you see a cloud get dark sometimes. It's because it's full of rain, and it just hasn't fallen yet. Evelyn always asks me about what rain is. All right, snow. Y'all, it might snow Wednesday. I mean, I just want Evelyn to build a snowman. You know, I just need just a little bit of snow. Okay, so snow. So when clouds become cold enough, the water vapor changes to ice crystals. Crystals. I can't talk. It's been a long day. Even though I'm doing this video on Sunday, but it's been a long day. All right, so when clouds become cold enough, they turn to ice crystals, and then the ice crystals attach to each other and become heavier and then fall. So it's sort of the same thing as rain. So when clouds are cold, which I know you guys know what these types of precipitation, what they are, but sometimes you don't know how, like, what rain is, and that it is two, many water droplets coming together, and once they get too heavy, that's when they fall. Okay. Are cold, the water vapor. So clouds are made of water. Changes to ice crystals. And then they attach to each other. That snow we had last week, the snow was huge. Snowflakes. And become heavy. I know that's a lot of writing. I'm sorry. You got that, though. Pause me if you need to. All right, so snow is just water vapor, water vapor that turns to ice crystals, and that attach to each other and then fall when they become too heavy. Now, sleet. I know you guys hear sleet. Sleet is interesting. Sleet happens mainly in the winter. So we have sleet and we have hail. Sleet is winter. Hail is like a thunderstorm. So I associate with hail more for like the summer. All right. So sleet is a mixture of rain and snow. Excuse me. Okay. The temperature is just above freezing. And also I have read that sleet sort of gets trapped in the cloud, and they fall out. It's like been melted and frozen, and then eventually falls out. Okay. Mixture of rain and snow. The temp is just above freezing. As rain falls, they freeze. Now that's different than freezing rain. Sleet freezes in the cloud, but freezing rain freezes once it hits the contact of the ground. Like it would just be so cold. It's not cold enough to be snow in the cloud, but it's cold enough for the freezing rain to make, when it makes contact, that it freezes, if that makes sense. Okay, and then we have hail. And hail is more in thunderstorms. So sleet is small, but hail can be super big, like golf ball sizes I have seen before. Actually, like in real life, I've seen it be pretty big. Typically, it's like a dime size or like a quarter size, but sometimes it can be pretty big. All right, so raindrops freeze as they fall, and the wind pushes the frozen raindrop back into the cold air. So this is what's going around and around and around. And then the layer freezes. They just freeze and freeze on top of them, and they get bigger. So it's rain that refreezes inside a cloud over and becoming bigger until they fall. Okay. All right, so now you can pause me if you need to. But now we're going to talk about weather instruments. All right. So you have to have things to measure the precipitation, correct? And we also have to have somebody that can interpret all that and can tell us, what's going on. So the person who tells us the weather is, I'll switch real quick to, okay, so like, so today we have temperatures and weather access, at our fingertips. I can pull it up and I can tell you that on today it is 48 degrees outside, and it is cloudy, and it tells me that there is a 100% chance of rain tomorrow. So, I don't have this on. So we look at this stuff and we use it, but there's somebody that gets that information for us, and those are called meteorologists. So meteorologists like Brent Watts, they use all of these information, all the information, at their fingertips. And this is not the one I wanted. I wanted this one. Let me pause and see if it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I wanted to get to this. So a meteorologist is a scientist. So I'm going to write down meteorologist. I want to make sure I spelled it correctly. Is a scientist who studies the weather. So they study the weather forecast, the like projections, the models, and they're able to use the weather instruments and all the clues. They're able to use those to tell us what is going to happen with the weather. Okay, so they're scientists. They're not just a cool dude on TV or a cool woman. They are a meteorologist is a scientist. All right, so I'm gonna go on switch. So pause me if you need to though. All right, so they use things like thermometer. And of course, we know what that is because we use that often, and that just measures the temperature. Okay. An anemometer. I always want to say anemometer, but it's an anemometer. So this measures wind speed. So I'm going to draw a little picture. All right. Oh. All right, so that's a thermometer. So an anemometer measures wind speed. Don't know what that was supposed to be. All right, so anemometer is looks like it's just got cups on it. And so what it does is it spins around. And the wind sort of gets caught in those and whips it around, and it tells you how fast the wind is going. Then you have a barometer. This measures air pressure. It looks like a thermometer, but they're usually circle. And so we'll talk about air pressure, I think, tomorrow. But air pressure is so we have high and low pressure systems, and it's just how heavy the air is. So I had a Mrs. Sadler. She was my 8th grade science teacher, and she had cattle. She had cows, and she always said that when she would be sent home by her principal to go check the cows to see if the cows were laying down, because if they were laying down, that meant that it was a low pressure system, and if it was a low pressure system, maybe it was going to snow. So if there was a chance of snow, they would send her home to have her go look at her cattle to see if they were laying down. And it's true. If you look, if you pass like the field, if you pass a field with cows and it's a low pressure system day, if it's raining or if it's getting ready to snow, getting ready to rain, if you look, sometimes the cows are laying down because they're so sensitive to the air pressure that they'll just lay down instead of trying to stand up to fight against it. I know it sounds crazy because we don't feel it as much. Sometimes we feel it, if you ever heard your mom say, "Oh my," or your adult, whoever you live with, they'll say, "Oh, my knees hurt," and because it's raining outside, and it's because we sometimes can feel that pressure system. Anyway, I totally went off. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But a barometer measures air pressure, and it just looks like a clock or a round thermometer. And then we have the rain gauge. And it measures the amount of precipitation, mainly rain. We measure snow with a ruler usually, but okay. And then a weather vane, which I'm not going to write down, but a weather vane measures what direction. A windsock will also do that. And a hygrometer measures the amount of humidity in the air. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and let's look at these real quick. Okay. So a barometer, the pressure, all this pressure is killing me. Another way is to predict what kind of weather is going to take place by using a barometer. So that's what it looks like. Um, so 29 inches is typical average air pressure. So if it is a higher air pressure system, I try to make it easy to memorize because it is hard. But a high air pressure system is like good weather, and then low pressure is like storm, rain, snow. Those are usually low pressure systems. Okay. And here is a nanometer. So this is what measures the wind speed. So the faster that it goes, the faster the wind's blowing. So the wind just gets in those cups and pushes it around. And there's the rain gauge, of course. And that's it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're going to have a Google slide for weather instruments, and then you're done for science. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.